Good morning again. Let me welcome you all to our beautiful and colorful offices. I am Corata Kali Botelo. I am the Head of Legal Services and Board Secretary here at the Botswana Stock Exchange. Today we are celebrating our third opening bell ceremony to commemorate International Women's Day, even though International Women's Day is on Sunday, under the theme I am Generational Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. I am going to start by observing protocol here this morning. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of BSE and CSDB board members here present, Mrs. Tunya Mangape Harabato and Ms. Kelebukile Kiawahamang. I would also like to acknowledge our acting Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Petolin Nzui, our Head of Finance and Administration, Mrs. Mpomo Kasha, our Head of Market Development, Ms. Tapelo Muribami. We would also like to have a special, I don't know if I should call it shout out, to our distinguished panel, which is going to comprise of women, obviously, the Botswana Pension Fund Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Koseko January, the Mascom Botswana Chief Executive Officer, Mrs. Makwale Siboni, the President of the CFA South Africa and Director of the ETF South Africa, Mrs. Marina Visa, KPMG Managing Partner and BICA President, Ms. Koseko Motsamai. I'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge female Chief Executive Officers and Managing Directors that we have invited here today. The Managing Director of Liberty Life Botswana, Ms. Lulura Sebotsa, the Managing Director of Ellen Gray, Mrs. Patsimo Ngumbe, the Managing Director of Liberty General Botswana, Ms. Tunya Mulusiwa, the President of the Botswana Bond Market Association, Mrs. Borato Murule, CFA South Africa Support Coordinator, Mrs. Wisilo Smith, and the just arrived Ms. Botswana, Lady Kulinyane. All female members of the CFA Society, we also welcome you and we thank you for partnering with us this morning. BSE management and staff, because I had deliberately excluded the male members of management and staff. All our business community here present. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of the brokerage community and our stakeholders and thank them for all our continued support. Members of the media for always being here with us. Distinguished guests, ladies, and the gentlemen. Good morning. We're finally starting. I'm going to deviate from the program that you have before you a little bit by starting off with a prayer. I'm going to identify one of our female members of staff from wherever. They're all seated at the back. So I'd like to ask one of them to come give us a short prayer before we start proceedings this morning.
Let us pray. Our dear Father out in heaven, we'd like to thank you, dear God, for this beautiful day. We'd like to thank you for the gift of life that you have given us this morning, dear Father. We'd like to thank you for the love that you so much give us each and every day, dear God. Our Father, this moment we'd like to pause, dear Father, and thank you, dear Father, for creating a woman in this world, dear Father. Because when you created the world, dear Father, you paused and looked at Adam and said, there is no help meet for him, as you had created all the animals and all the creatures in the world. So we'd like to thank you, dear Father, that you had created us for a purpose, dear God. And this morning, dear Father, we pray that, Father, may each woman here, dear Father, live to the purpose that you have called us to be, dear Father. May we live to the purpose that you have called us to be as mothers, as sisters, as aunties and as best friends, so dear Father God. We pray that, Father, wherever that we are, dear Father, may it be at our homes, may it be at our workplace, may it be each and every place in the community that you have placed us, dear Father. May we recognize that and may we know that we are the apple of your eye, dear Father. Be with us this morning as we'll be celebrating and ringing the bell for gender equality yet again in the stock exchange, Father. We pray that, Father, may you take control of the proceedings of this day and may each woman, Father, live here empowered and knowing that they are forever loved and cared by you. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
Amen. At this point, I'm going to call upon board member Mrs. Tunya Makepe Harabatu to give our opening remarks for today.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
And on behalf of the Botswana Stock Exchange and the CSD board, I'd like to ask you to please allow me to start by wishing all the women here a happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
And wish all the women of Botswana as well a happy International Women's Day. And indeed all the women of the world a happy International Women's Day. It gives me great pleasure and honor to deliver the welcome remarks this morning at this year's commemorative ceremony to recognize International Women's Day, a day that carries the global theme, I am Generation Equality. I am Generation Equality, realizing women's rights. As you're all aware, International Women's Day is an important day in the calendar and is celebrated on the 8th of March every year. However, unfortunately this year, because the 8th of March is not a trading day at the Stock Exchange, we've decided to celebrate it today. We haven't allowed it to dampen our spirits, and therefore we're setting the tone as we celebrate today. And we honor women for their significant contributions in society, and also applaud their efforts in this specially themed opening bell ceremony. The history of International Women's Day, as we all know, dates back to 1975. This is when the United Nations initiated conversations around women's rights and gender equality. This development marked the beginning of an era in which the voice of women could be heard as the world continued in the endeavor to create a more gender-balanced society. Without having to state the obvious, we all know, the girls represent a significant percentage of the world's population, and therefore, necessarily, a significant percentage of the world's potential. Gender equality, besides being a fundamental human right, is also essential to achieve peaceful societies, to achieve full human potential, and also sustainable development. We believe that through purposeful collaboration, we can help women advance and unleash the limitless potential that can stimulate growth in many economies around the world. Hence the reason that gender equality is amongst the main goals of the United Nations, what is called the Sustainable Development Goals. It's on the top of the agenda. Now, despite the ongoing challenges in this area, we have witnessed a mindset change in many governments as they actively support women's rights. And therefore, it would be remiss if we didn't recognize this achievement. Some of the more visible changes that we have witnessed include equal opportunities in all aspects of economic and political and social life. All these people here are chief executives. Can we give them a round of applause? Congratulations, women. As already alluded to, this year's International Women's Day has been appropriately themed, I am Generation Equality, realizing women's rights. I am Generation Equality. This theme is proposed at a time where the conversation in our view needs to be redirected and emphasized on encouraging our male counterparts to get more involved in carrying the message and also supporting gender equality. More needs to be done in providing equal opportunities and also in implementing legal frameworks regarding female equality, as it is crucial to ending gender-based discrimination, which still prevails in some parts of the world and in some countries. We need to break the structural barriers that exist. We need to break the structural barriers that exist and the ones that women and girls face, such as damaging stereotypes, such as discrimination, and also violence. These structures need to be broken. Our aspirations for the world is of peace, prosperity, dignity, and opportunity for all, and this depends on our collective efforts. I'd like to bring it closer to home, which is here at the Botswana Stock Exchange. I'm happy to say that The BSE has various structures and programs in place that promote gender equality. First and foremost, 50% of the senior leadership team at the Botswana Stock Exchange is female. And then 58% of the entire staff complement is also female. And we believe that is an accomplishment. Secondly, the Botswana Stock Exchange has also conceptualized a number of policies to safeguard and promote gender equality or gender balance, such as the sexual harassment policy, the remuneration policy, which advocates equal benefits for women who are on maternity, full pay for women who are on maternity leave. And furthermore, the Botswana Stock Exchange commemorates international and national days set aside to acknowledge issues affecting not only women, but also men. So you're not forgotten, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, without having to take too much of your time, let me kindly remind you that we'll be facilitating an engaging discussion throughout our distinguished panel members here as they deliberate on pertinent issues on this year's theme. I urge you all to introspect as we walk away from today and ask ourselves, what am I as an individual doing to promote gender equality or a gender balanced work environment or a gender balanced world? What am I doing as an individual? Please introspect and ask yourself that. Director of Ceremonies, with those few remarks, I'd like to thank all of you here for attending today's ceremony and wish you pleasant deliberations as we go forward. And more importantly, to all the women, once again, from Botswana Stock Exchange staff and management, happy International Women's Day. Thank you so much.
So at this point, I will be introducing the discussion for this morning, which is I Am Generational Equality, Realizing Women's Rights, and the topic is Striving Towards a More Gender-Based Society. This panel is going to be moderated by our Head of Market Development, Ms. Thapelo Muribame, and the panel comprises Mrs. Makwade Siboni, Mrs. Khosoro January, Mrs. Nerina Vesa, and Ms. Khosoro Motsamai. I'd like to welcome you all to the stage to begin with the discussion.
Dumelang, beautiful ladies, and happy International Women's Day in advance.
Thank you.
Oh, you don't sound excited. Happy International Women's Day. Thank you. That's more like it. I'm delighted to moderate this panel as introduced that expands on today's theme, which is Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. The theme is closely aligned to the UN's new multi-generational campaign, which is themed Generation Equality, and it marks the 25th anniversary of the Declaration and Platform for Action, that is the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which is considered a roadmap for women's issues. So it is said that 2020 is going to be a pivotal year as far as advancing gender equality. I hope you agree with me. So the reason why you are here today is that you should also be part of the conversation and be part of the solution as well. So as an opening line, I would like to just highlight a few statistics. Do you know that women and girls continue to be undervalued? Do you know that as women you work more, but you continue to earn less than your male counterparts? And you also have fewer career choices. And women continue to experience all sorts of violence in home spaces as well as public spaces. So those are the shocking statistics that you should reflect on as we discuss today's theme. And also in 18 countries around the world, husbands can legally prevent their wives from working. So think about that. So it's really, really, really sad. So while we've made a lot of inroads as women, I know there's a lot of women CEOs in the room, we continue to be underrepresented in the corporate space, even in parliament. So we need to do a lot as far as gender equality is concerned. So joining me to deliberate on this topic is my esteemed panel made up of beautiful, accomplished ladies today. We have the CEO of Mascom, Mrs. Zene Makwade Seboni. Zene was recently appointed CEO, so a round of applause for Zene. We have Kosoko January. Kosoko is the CEO of one of the largest pension funds in the country, so she's a very important lady to know. We have Nerina Vise. Nerina is ETF South Africa Director. She's also the CFA South Africa President. Nerina is also a friend of the BSC, and we do a lot as far as capital markets are concerned. We have Kosoko Mozamai, very accomplished lady as well. Kosoko is the KPMG Managing Partner and Vika President. I know she was recently appointed partner, right, Kosoko? Managing Partner, yes. So a round of applause for the lady. So in proceeding with the discussion, I'm going to start with Zene Seboni. And Zene, the theme for International Women's Day is Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. In your opinion, please share with us some of the challenges that women continue to experience, and also what makes the case for gender equality important in 2020. I know you're very experienced, so please share your story.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the warm welcome, and it's lovely to see you all here today. Looking bright, beautiful in our women's rights. I'm very glad that when you were setting up the discussion, you spoke about Beijing, because for me, this morning at the whole Beijing conference is quite a personal thing. My own late mother, was a delegate, one of the 17,000 delegates in 1995 for Beijing, China. And she came back from there very energized. She was so excited about the course that women and girls were going to take as a result of the deliberations that they had, the proclamations they made. Very excited, talking the talk, really and actively making sure that we as her girl children also are aware of this movement. And one of the things that I'd like to share with you is maybe some of the things that were said there when we were in Beijing, because these women came up with these proclamations that were things like, and I quote, "We are convinced that women empowerment and therefore participation on the basis of equality in all spheres of society, including participation in decision-making process and access to power, are fundamental for the achievement of equality, development, and peace. We are determined to take necessary measures to eliminate all forms of discrimination against women and the girl child, and remove all obstacles to gender equality and the advancement and empowerment of women." And it didn't leave men behind, because it said, "We are determined to encourage men to participate fully in all actions towards equality." So I've just told you about my mother and the Beijing experience. And when I'm asked the question of the challenges, I can't help but think of my late mother and think, what would she and the other women of her ilk who were in Beijing in 1995, what would they think if they were to look back, if they were to be here and give us a scorecard and say, 25 years later, you have done exactly what we thought you would have done. So I think that my mom would probably look back and say, well, it's a mixed scorecard. Yes, we have made strides. The fact that we have accomplished women leaders here on stage and in the audience as leaders of corporate entities, is definitely a move in the right direction. It's definitely something to be proud of. The challenges are many though. And when we talk about some of the statistics that indicate those challenges, I looked around to see, what exactly does it look like in Botswana. One of the statistics I was able to pick up was that on the corporate front, statistics show that the percentage of women in senior management was 38% in 2019, having gone up from 33%, which is quite a jump in 1 year. I don't know if those stats are correct, but those are the stats I have. And just to see the increase from 1 year to the next, from 23 to 38, was an interesting one. Obviously, if we are half of the population, you would say then why we not than half of senior management. I would also hasten to add that the organization that I lead, MASCOM, we are ahead of that particular statistic with 60% of senior management being women. Just on the report card again, CEO and MD level, yes, we are here on the stage, but apparently Botswana is trailing at a single digits of 6% businesses with women leaders versus the global of 15%. I'm not that's correct, but like I said, it's a number and it shows us where we are. So the reality is that it's not easy. It's really not an easy road to be able to progress as a female. Still, it's not. There have been many strides that have been made. We've talked about the issues of discrimination or sexism, sexual harassment. Those are the many challenges that are there. The one that I would just like to focus on, that is a personal one, as a woman in leadership, is that the reality of our lives as women, and especially as family women or mothers, is that the bulk of family care, the bulk of child minding, child rearing, etc., will always be tipped towards the woman in the household. And this extends also to extended family. Those challenges are part of what we as women in our jobs have to deal with. You can't leave it behind. It's still with you, even as you are fully functioning in your corporate role. I think it is something that perhaps the statement, the last statement that I mentioned about the Beijing conference, when the statement was that we're determined that we should encourage men to participate fully, is an important one, because perhaps we are missing the boat and not realizing that in fact these men do want to encourage gender equality. We should be capitalizing on those who see the need to encourage and to support gender equality, as opposed to seeing them as the enemies of gender equality or women's equality. I've been very blessed because in dealing with being a corporate woman, I've had a very, very strong network of support to enable me to be able to achieve what I have and to not drop the ball too much on the home front. And that network extends from, a husband and a father to my children who's very present, a sister who is extremely supportive, help in the home that is very, very on the ball and committed, and a circle of sisters and women who realize that really for her to be able to function there, maybe I can help her with this, maybe when there's a school saying I can do this, and knowing that I can call and say, Tia, Amante has Zala, there is no way that I can make it because I have commitment. Are you able to do it, to provide that touch on her? So I've been very blessed, and I know that maybe that's not the only answer, but it's the answer that I have found at this stage with the challenges that we meet as a mother.
Thank you so much, Zena, for that. I like the point that you raised on how we should involve our male counterparts in these conversations. So all the gentlemen who are in this room, you are tasked with the mission to relay the message to all the gentlemen who are not here. So moving on, I'll move to Rosaho. Zena mentioned if you mentioned the fact that we have made inroads as far as gender equality is concerned. So in your opinion, has there been a positive change really in the mindset of people over the course of time as far as gender equality is concerned? And maybe mention one or two areas where you feel we've made progress. And I know you lead one of the biggest pension funds in the country. So what have you really witnessed during your journey?
Thank you very much. Juliana? Women's issue for me, I like to take it as a gender issue and a societal issue. And that is basically because we all have different cultures across the world. And I believe we need to all look at the different cultures and say, how do we make them work in order for us for all of us to look at exactly what Zeni has said around gender equality. We don't necessarily need to leave our cultures behind. I think we need to relearn what we used to know about how things used to be done and start doing them the way we believe it should be. So if you talk about the journey, I started my career in the mining industry. I was with Debswana, the mining company, especially in a mining town or Rapa mine for 17 years. And during those 17 years, all the women had jobs in the services department. It would be very rare to find a man in the mining department, in the treatment department, in all those departments where there were men and not women-based. And over the years, we have seen that transformation come through. We have seen women engineers. We have even seen women truck drivers driving those very big trucks. For me, that is where the transition started. I must say at Debswana, around different pay, it was pay per job, so whatever job you did. But then again, women didn't have the opportunity to do those jobs that were well paid. But now that opportunity is there. And we can see the children that are now doing, the girl child that is doing engineering, the girl child that is doing metallurgy, we can now see them thriving in the projects departments. We can now see them even leading to a point where by right now it's very impressive that the acting MD of Debswana is a woman. I currently root for her and hope that she gets the position because I believe she'll be just as capable as any other man who is there. And that will also show the transition that Debswana has taken over the years. In terms of my personal experience, when I grew up, I wanted to be a soldier. I really used to find those men wearing those beautiful PDF uniforms, and I felt I could be one of those. But we were not allowed to at the time. So I had no choice, where I went and said, okay, I can't be what my dream is. What is the next best thing? I was told, you either choose to be a teacher, you choose to be an accountant. I looked at it and I said, okay, I'll become an accountant. Was it my dream? No. But society and culture had said, as women, we get into services jobs. We do not get into other fields. Oh yes, you could be a doctor, but then you needed to be very bright, and I don't think I was that bright. So I chose accounting, it got me where I am. But in the mining industry, as I said, we have seen very significant challenges. I mean, I could name a few women who are up there in the ladder. I could name people like Bomalebo Mbugua, who's currently in London. I can name Bolumis Bologa, who's currently heading a project. You know, these are women that have shown the girl child that you can actually do anything that a man can do. Now, I think in closing, what I want to say is that there are a lot of women CEOs sitting around here, and that we need to be teaching each other. We need to be talking to our children, our girl child, and even our boy child about the respect of the female, and make them understand that when I go on maternity leave, it is not an inconvenience. It is something that needs to happen. It is part of nature. And how can we harness that time that I'm on maternity leave as an organization to benefit the organization? I always say it gives an opportunity for grooming and for learning, because you can take the next subordinate who can act in that position for 3 months while I lie at home, and then from there you can judge them and say, wow, we thought she was brilliant. Actually, the one here is even more brilliant than she is. And therefore, opportunities start arising for all of us. So that is where I think the support of us women also needs to come in. And as Zeni said, we have been blessed to be around other women who have been strong, who have been able to guide us and assist us to arrive to where we are. But there were challenges along the way. There were pull and down syndromes along the way. And we fought very hard to get here. Let's not let the next generation fight so hard for something that rightly belongs to them.
Thank you. Also, very, very powerful. Remember, if you have a question, you have the opportunity to network with these ladies immediately after this session. So moving to you, Nerina, please share with us how, as professionals, we can make a case for diversity in our respective organizations. And what do you think, how do you think we can make that case better? And what strategies do you see as key?
Thank you very much for this opportunity. Dumelang.
Dumelang.
Kite. That's about as far as I can go. I'm here today representing CFA Society South Africa, and I want to just emphasize that South Africa in this context is a region. This is not the country South Africa, but the region South Africa. And so special shout out, welcome to our CFA members, charter holders, charter pendings that are here today. You have got a strong contingent in the Botswana capital markets, in the finance and investment industry. And it's wonderful to see the progress that has already been made and continues to be made. I think the case for diversity for me from an investment perspective is such an easy one to make. From managing investment funds, we know the power of diversification. And exactly the same diversification that we advocate for from an investment perspective applies also to the human capital that we've got available to better get our companies to function and our investment portfolios to function. So I'm of the opinion that one of the best ways to implement this is really by design. If we demand, there will always be resistance. If we sit back and expect this to just happen, we know it's never going to happen. But if we do things by design, we actually have a very good chance of realizing and sustaining this generation equality that we have. So I want to share with you 2 examples from the CFA environment. In CFA, we have a saying that visibility is validity. And for me, that is why it's so wonderful to see so many strong, successful, competent women in senior management roles in the Botswana market across different industries, but not just in senior management roles, but really right throughout the organizations. And I think as current incumbents maybe of senior management positions, but also as young upcoming incumbents, we have both a right and a responsibility to take up the space that we rightfully deserve and that we are fully equipped to take up. And to really just be our own people in what we choose to do, to be whatever we want to be. So the 2 examples I want to share with you is that 3 years ago with our annual investment conference for CFA, we by design decided that we were only going to have female speakers at the conference. We chose them for their skill set, for their knowledge, for their expertise in their particular field of play. The fact that they happened to be women was just a bonus. And I think one of the things that was great for me about this is that it took at least half the day of the conference before the delegates started sort of cottoning on that, oh wow, all the speakers here today are actually women. Because they appreciated the content that was coming, they appreciated the contributions that were being made, and it was not just people who were chosen because they happened to be of the female gender. I'm also happy to say that it was actually one of our male board members who proposed this, who came up with the idea that we do this. I think further testimony to the fact that this is an imperative for all of us, not just for women. But the other thing that we also did was we felt that as the board of CFA Society South Africa, we needed to lead by example. And with that, it meant that we needed to ensure that we have very broad-based diversity in the makeup of our board. So what we did a few years ago was, in terms of the metrics that were defined to look for new board members to come on board, to specify these broad-based criteria. And yes, gender diversity was certainly one of those criteria, but it wasn't the only one by any stretch of the imagination. We were looking for age diversity, for example. We were definitely looking for cognitive diversity. People that think differently, that do conflict resolution differently, that engage with people differently. We wanted diversity in terms of industry perspective, of academic background, the whole range of it. And it is so amazing now today to see the makeup of our board that is extremely diversified, really representing all these different aspects of diversity. Last year we happened to have exactly half of our board being female, 6 of the 12 board members. This year we actually have 7 of our board members being women. But it was not, it's almost as though that wasn't the focus of it, but because we designed that we require broad-based diversity, by designing it as such, we have achieved what I think is now standing us in very good stead. So my message really for all of you here today is that you have both a right but also a responsibility. If you are a current incumbent in a senior position already, you have the responsibility to be visible, to lead by aspirational example, showing other women the way, to say that this is not only just able to be done, but you have a right to do so. If you are a younger member, you have absolutely the right but also the responsibility to take up your space. Be all the women that you are and bring all of that women into the workplace, into your personal life as well. And remember that you are the only you that is there. Don't try and be a success by being the man or by being someone else. Be you, because that is the most valuable contribution that you can bring to your organization, to the boardroom, to your family, to your community, to your society. Be you and be proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nerina. The key message is inclusion and diversity. So we need that. The business environment is definitely demanding that. So I'll move on to Kosebo Motanai. Kosebo, can you tell us about the situation where you wished you had the much needed support as a lady in leadership, and other instances where you indeed had that kind of support, and just tell me how it felt like.
Thank you and good morning.
Good morning.
Let me just start by highlighting that I am from the accounting and audit industry, and one can argue that in this industry the playing field is level, meaning that what you put in is what you get out. But having said that, studies show that male counterparts dominate the profession in senior positions. And this is despite the fact that women are more in the profession. I think just to give you an example, taking it closer to home here, the latest BICA membership statistics shows that 56% of the membership are women. And out of that 56%, which is around approximately 2.7, only 21 of those are professional accountants. The rest are in technician positions. But if you take the ratio of our male counterparts, the ratio is much better than the women ratio. it is at 42 versus 58. So, and even if you really drill down on this professional accountants number, you find that only 39% are female. And mind you, I told you that 56% are women. But out of the ones that are at a higher level, only 39% are female. This really explains what we see in the boardrooms and what we see in our executive management positions at various organizations. And I think just using my personal circumstances, I am one of the only two citizen partners in one of the Big Four. And it has been like this for a very long time. And currently, I don't know whether very soon we'll see a third one. I really don't know, and I only hope that we can get one. And also talking about my presidency at BICA, again, I am the second of the only two citizens who have ever been presidents at BICA. And BICA started as BIA back in 1990. And during that time, there have been 18 presidents. And out of that, 3 have only been women. And the first woman was appointed in 2007. Yes, and I was appointed sometime back in 2015 after the partner at KPMG. So I think for me, really, coming back to my experiences, I'm going to talk about the positive one, where I have really experienced a lot of support and how that really assisted me in this difficult profession that I'm in. It has been, my journey has not been an easy one, but I have been lucky to have a mentor during my career, and I think that is very important for each of us. And I was again fortunate enough. Guess what? My mentor was a male, and this male, I can say a lot about this male because he found a very shy rural girl. So this man found this shy rural girl and found so potential in her. And the potential that I didn't see myself, I didn't believe in myself. And this man took it upon himself that I'm going to nurture, I'm going to coach, and I'm going to pave way for this woman to be where she should be. And it was a long road, one that I think I played a role in extending it because I was still that shy girl, you know. But it didn't stop him to push me until I had a little bit of faith in myself. And for me, really, I don't think I would be here if that mentor has not been there. And I think those that know me, they know that male person that I'm talking about. And again, the kind of support that I have enjoyed is I've been lucky over the years. I have worked with people, with teams that really support. And as leaders, your success or failures are really dependent on the people that you work with, whether they work with you or they work against you. So I have been fortunate enough to have team members like that. Not that all of them will be like that, but those that really matter for me have really been there. And I think even if I relate to my recent appointment as the managing partner of a firm that is currently going through a lot and has seen a lot of changes. The challenges are there, and for me, it becomes evident every day that without the support structures that I found in some of my colleagues, some of them are male. So I just want us to understand that as women, there are men who really want to see women progressing, and I have been fortunate enough to be one of them. So for me, really, I have been lucky in that regard. And if even I take my journey at BICA, when I joined BICA 5 years ago, again, I didn't know much about how the council runs and all that. It is this mentor he took the form and completed it for me and said, "You are joining the council." And I said, "Okay." And then I joined Bika Council, and a few years later, I think in my third year as a council member, I was voted into the presidency, again nominated by women and men. And again, that the support structure that I've had from my fellow council members over the years, the secretariat has been very phenomenal. And I wouldn't have really led them to where we are today. I think Bika is at a place where we can all look back and say, I have contributed to the accounting profession today. So for me, really, those are the three areas that I can really relate to. And of course, you need a support structure from your friends and your family. I have a very close friend of mine here, seated here, and she's really been a very strong support system for me. And she's somebody that when I feel like I cannot do this anymore, I phone and I say, I think it's difficult. And for that, thank you, Neo husband. And I think talking to the experiences that I really wish I could have had more support from people. And for me, it's really now. I wouldn't want to go back. It's really now in my current position. Having taken over from a more experienced and known managing partner, former managing partner, and you now having to fill those shoes, I decided that I'm not going to fill them. I'm going to walk alongside them because I can't. I will make my own. So it has been a very challenging time, one that most people ask me every day, how do you do it? And I still don't have an answer. All I know is I'm passionate about my profession, and I can only hope that I will inspire, even if it's one girl child, to one day become even better me. So for me, that is really why I'm doing it. I have wanted to see more support, I think for me, from fellow women, and sometimes it is happening that the support that you are looking for is really actually given by your male counterparts than your women counterparts. I think we have a lot of introspection to do as women, to try and encourage others, to mentor, to build and not destroy. And don't destroy what you didn't build. And if you don't have anything to add, you better just keep quiet and don't destroy what you didn't build. You get a lot of, you are critically assessed. You are compared to your more experienced counterparts a lot. You are challenged in your decision making. And some of these things, they are subtle, you won't even notice them, but they are there. You are challenged, you are undermined, you can see that, but you know what? If you know who you are, if you believe who you are, and somebody decides to judge you by just looking at you, it is their business, and you need to show that one. And for me, really, that has been something that has really carried me through. So I can only say to the girl child to say, dare to dream. And it is tough. And in our profession especially, the statistics that we see are not by chance. It is because there is a lot of sleepless nights, long hours, especially in the audit firms and senior finance functions. And if you don't have the stamina, if you don't have the resilience, you will you will throw the towel along the way. But when you do that, you are adding to the statistics that you are seeing today. So, and I think for women that are here and men that are here, we need to encourage the girl child that it is possible to have a leadership position while being a wife and a mother. And we sometimes tend to tell our girl child that you can't have both. You either have one and not the other. So for me, I think the message that we really need to drill down is believe we can do all these things. But for that to happen, the workplace also have to really transform. We need to have flexible working arrangements to allow women who become mothers. I'm not a mother, I'm not a biological mother, but I'm a mother. But I notice these things. And for me, if you want to allow your women to thrive in a workplace while they are having families and all, you need to be flexible. And organizations that are really advanced with this, you find the workforce is a happier environment where we are still sticking to 5 to 8 and that 5 to 8 going to 2 a.m. and all that. But for me, that is really where we need to change as organizations.
Thank you so much, Fosamo. We are really, really proud of your achievements. And before you hand over the mic, we have about 30 seconds to wrap up. So we end the panel on a positive note. Any inspirational message that you want to share with the ladies here present?
I have said it before. I said dare to dream. Run your own race. Don't look at who is doing what and at what pace. I ran that race myself, a very long one, and one that I could have given up along the way because I was slower than those that I started with. But I did not give up because I was not in any competition. So I think that is very important. I always see our trainees when they fail, when they write their professional exams and they fail, they look at you as passers, and that is not your concern. The fact that this person is passing before you doesn't mean that they're going to get to the top before you. It doesn't just take the exams, it takes other things as well. And lean in, really. It's a very difficult world. There are challenges, but believe in yourself more and know that you can do whatever you set your mind to. And for me, really, I think the future is looking bright. I think we just need to turn these numbers that we have as women to become. We can't just be in lower and middle positions. I think for me, we know men and women are wired differently, and we have great and strong characteristics as women that we really need to explore and do.
Thank you so much.
A diamond shines brightly when it has many facets. Always bring all of your facets into the workplace, into everywhere that you go. Don't try and compartmentalize your life and only bring some aspects of it, the things that you think are the only ones that are valued in the workplace. Bring all of you along because that's where your real value lies. It's like a diamond, shine through all your multiple facets.
I think for me is to look at every woman in this room and for each and every one to ask us, what are we doing for the girl child?
The perception or the experience that a lot of times we as women maybe question ourselves too much or feel, oh, I'm not. I think it came out very strongly in your address about just, feeling, no, maybe I'm not good enough, the confidence issue. And so the statement that I would like to leave is that just remember to speak your truth, even if your voice shakes.
Thank you so much to this wonderful panel. I hope you've learned a lot. But remember, if you have any questions, stick around. They'll also be available immediately after this ceremony, so you can ask them questions, exchange business cards, and continue to learn from them. With those remarks, thank you, Director of Ceremonies.
Thank you for that all-encompassing and very inspiring discussion. We are now at the point of doing what we came here for. So if you look at the screen behind the panel, that is a display of the market as it's seen every day here when we trade. So the purpose of today's ceremony is to commemorate the beginning of March, our Trading Month. So at this point, I'd like to invite the panelists and our 2 board members here present back up on the stage, and we are going to ring the bell. The market opens at 9:55. If you are attentive to the screen, it went on at 10. I don't know what happened there. No, everybody in capital markets was probably looking, and I was speaking to the IT guys to say, fix it, and they said I should relax. But that is the market, and it shows all our trade statistics as of now, and we will now proceed to the ringing of the bell. 3, 2, 1. We are at the end of our program. I am going to invite our CSD board member, Ms. Kewaha Mang, to give you all a vote of thanks for attending this morning. Can we have a round of applause for ourselves?
I would like to recognize the presence of the following BSE and CSD board members here present. Our distinguished panel. They've been introduced, but I'll introduce them again because they are very important. And they've inspired us so much and positively reinforced, a girl child to do so much. The Debswana Pension Fund CEO, Khosero Motsamai. Oh, sorry. Mascom Botswana CEO, Mezene Makwade Seboni, the President of CFA South Africa and Director of ETF South Africa, Ms. Nerissa Fisser, the Managing Partner of KPMG and VICA President, Ms. Khosero Motsamai, the BSE CEO, Mr. Thapelo Tseole, in absentia, BSE management and staff, the business community here present. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of key stakeholders in the ecosystem of capital markets, the beautiful ladies, as acknowledged already, members of the media, the rest of the public, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm good morning to you.
Good morning.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for turning up in large numbers to commemorate International Women's Day under the global theme, I am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. I hope we take that to heart. I am Generation Equality, Realizing Women's Rights. My duty this morning is to make the vote of thanks, give a vote of thanks, and also sum up the riveting discussions we've had during our short engagement. I hope I'll do right by these ladies. Firstly and rightfully so, on behalf of the CSD and BSE board, let me correct that. I come from CSD, but we need to start with the mother. On behalf of the BSE and CSD board, management and staff, allow me to extend my gratitude to our panel of distinguished guests who have taken time off of their busy schedules to be with us on this very special day. Your role today cannot be understated. You represent a very important demographic of the population that needs to be heard and acknowledged. The interactions that we've had, that we shared this morning, have been mostly helpful. As the BSE, we continue to advocate and support gender equality and, more importantly, women's rights as a means to tilt the balance and close the gender gap. Looking at it holistically, gender equality is simply a question of power and how the other gender uses power. Throughout the passage of time, we as a society have ignored women's voices and continually overlooked their achievements and successes. However, thankfully, the tide is turning and the world is taking notice. It is pleasing to see so many members of the opposite gender being a part of the conversation and driving and promoting gender equality for the betterment of our world and future generations. As they say, a market is a true depiction of its participants. As such, allow me to take this opportunity to acknowledge my fellow colleagues and key stakeholders within the ecosystem of Botswana's Cape Town market in supporting the BSE in celebrating this important day in our calendar. There's definitely strength in numbers, and this is a true testament that we are part of a global movement to invoke conversation and address challenges facing women today. We appreciate your continued support wholeheartedly. Also, I'll be remiss in my duties if I fail to recognize the presence of the media present here today. A robust market is complemented by your efforts with respect to information dissemination. Therefore, your continued support in availing coverage and visibility for the exchange at various levels does not go unnoticed. We thank you for that support. Before concluding, let me also applaud and acknowledge the stewardship of the BSE CEO, Ratsheole, and his staff for organizing this special ceremony to celebrate women's societal contributions with other exchanges around the world, and encourage you to be steadfast with the good work, and let us continue to be the shining example to most. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for gracing us with your presence this morning. Buddha.
We have now come to the end of our program for today. Thank you very much for gracing us with your presence, and it's time to network.